Subject of philosophy and faith. I read a lot of stuff. People are like, God, I don't believe in God. God doesn't exist, or faith is a joke, and all these kind of things. And we've all, anybody who's a critical thinker has certainly been down that road several times. And by no means do I want this channel or any of this, anything that I'm presenting to you. I want it to be about this, about the journey. But it's I do have some ideas on that. And an important thing to know about faith is everything requires faith in something. And that's an important hurdle for you to get over. People are like, oh, well, how would I believe in Sky Daddy, or whatever words they want to use, but it's very important when you deconstruct reality that everything that you know per se is based on faith. It's not what you know, it's who you believe, and you have to have faith in something. You have to have faith in, if it's science, you have to have faith in science. If it's humanism, individualism, you still have to have faith in these things. There's nothing that you're going to pursue in life that doesn't require a leap of faith. And again, you might say, well, I'm going to go home and drink some wine and eat a steak and watch Seinfeld. That doesn't require any faith. Well, sure it does. You got to have faith in that your electricity is going to work. You got to have faith that your TV is going to turn on, that Seinfeld's going to be on the TV, and that your car is going to get you home. Your car is going to, you have to have faith in everything. Now, some of those are mechanics and quantum physics and what have you, but just the workings of those mechanics require faith in a system. And so that's an important thing to understand. Like anybody who says, faith's bullshit, I don't have any faith, and I just live day by day. These are just extreme nihilists who, are never going to get out of their own hole, get out of their own rut. Tend to be miserable. You got to have faith that the sun's going to come up. There's no guarantee the sun's going to come up tomorrow. There's no guarantee that you're going to have food on the table tomorrow. There's no guarantee you're going to be alive tomorrow. All these things require faith unless you're just living in a perpetual state of presence, presentness. And, the human mind doesn't really work like that. It's great to stay present. I don't discourage people from living in the moment and being present. But, again, you got to have faith in something. This idea that all this is just a random coincidence is kind of silly. Like, I don't believe in random coincidences. I think that there is I think coincidences are the same thing as stereotypes. Stereotypes exist for a reason. Like, we have that term for a reason because they're a real thing. But the thing that creates the term stereotype, or the need for the term stereotype, is the exception to the rule. Well, it's the same as coincidences. Like, there are such things as random coincidences, but most things aren't. So something to kind of keep in mind, when you're thinking is this. And again, like, if you don't want to have faith in God or something bigger than yourself, again, I think that's just because you haven't reached that point in your life where you've got past that that everything just happened from nothing and then we got to this. Like, the human consciousness came from just nothing, a random explosion in nothingness that created bacteria that created human consciousness. It's really silly on merit. And again, like, this channel is not to try to convert you to anything, but I hope that I do. Everybody brings something to the table. One thing I learned in life is that even the people who you look at who might not look like they have anything to offer, everybody has something to offer. And I think the idea of building yourself into what you become, you're kind of a puzzle, and you take a little piece of every encounter and every person that you come into contact with. And so you might see some guy who looks like a worthless homeless alcoholic, but I can guarantee you that there's something that he brings to the table that you could utilize. And that might sound like being a user, but all relationships are based on usury. not usury from a financial state, but usury from, I mean, you're not going to go around somebody if they don't bring something to the table. And even if it's just their company, or if it's this, I mean, I want someone to use me, because then they deem me as valuable. And hopefully, the thing about using people is the idea is reciprocity. You know, I'll use you, you use me. You know, I like your company, you like mine. Or, hey, you're a good carpenter, and I'm a good, you know, I'm a good financial advisor or something. You know what I mean? And you share things with each other, and this is how relationships are formed. And again, like, everybody brings something to the table, and a lot of that, you know, something can be negative as well. I mean, not everybody brings something positive to the table, but everybody has positive attributes about them, no matter how down on their luck they are, how crappy of a person they seem to be, how negative minded. I can assure you, some of the best friends I've ever had in my life were just, nobody liked them. You know, nobody ever went around them, and you know, but they still have things to bring to the table. And so it's important to kind of see the good in people and see the good in things. And it's again, it's easy. This all sounds cliche, but I mean, if you apply that and you try to look past the bad things and see the good in people, as cliche as it might sound, it's actually there's a reason it's a cliche. There's a reason that people say it. And instead of using it as an analogy or some kind of metaphor or some kind of motivating thing, if you use it, you know, appropriately and like figure